Boxing is really strange. And one of the strangers that are participating that leads to this particular editorial is Shakur Stevenson, who has recently been noted for saying something specific about the other talent that surrounds the division in which he competes. That happens to be the lightweight division. And we know that we would like to see Shakur face the likes of Gervonta Tank Davis, even Devin Haney, who happens to have moved up to junior welterweight. But in an article from Boxing News 24, the link will be in the description box. It goes on to talk about Stevenson says he'd fight the likes of Abdullah Mason in the future. Now, it's funny how he'll say that about that man, but you've got someone right there that you call a friend, in Keyshawn Davis. Why not fight that man? You see, Abdullah Mason is a young man who is on a fast trajectory through Top Rank, rising through the ranks as a 20-year-old who has already given us the impression that his approach to the sport is take no prisoner. And the Mason brothers and family have approached this as a business, and they are looking to make the right strides. You see, when the likes of someone like Shakur Stevenson, who has been around for a little while, even being under the wings of veterans like Andre Ward and Terrence Bud Crawford himself, you have to think about it. Jamel Herring, he has taken some of what has been accessible to learn, but he still hasn't been making the proper moves, even leaving Top Rank Boxing for now being a part of Matchroom. And he has yet and still made another bad move with Matchroom by not going through with the fight that was scheduled for October 12th against Joe Cordina, a fight which gave him an opportunity to headline the co-main feature of that pay-per-view card. It was a chance for him to be on pay-per-view, something he has yet to do. So Shakur Stevenson has been making bad move after bad move when it comes to getting himself in a place and position to face the best and garner the respect from not only his contemporary peers, but also the entire boxing community. Let us not forget that he turned down an offer that Devin Haney made before leaving the division while still being an undisputed champion at lightweight. And the reasons that he gave in the aftermath do not align with the sensibility that one would have when you're trying to get at what you really crave. Now, if you crave being a champion and being an undisputed champion, that was the opportunity, just as Devin had taken the opportunity when he was chasing George Kambosos' unified titles. He even had to take a god-awful deal over in Australia 2 times in the event that he was successful in their first fight to face Kambosos in a rematch in the same country. So Shakur has opted not to do the things that are of best interest for himself, but he has opted to just be able to be on the sidelines and complain and point fingers and call people names. But the thing about it is, one thing we're not calling you is the best, because that's not what you've really shown us to be. So the article says, the Bedford, Ohio native and Mason looks like a can't-miss future superstar and a far better talent than Shakur. Top Rank invested money in Shakur's career, signing him out of the 2016 Olympics, but he has not won over fans despite capturing 3 division world titles. That money was wasted because Shakur's popularity failed to increase and he left Top Rank recently in favor of signing with Matchroom. That marriage may not last if Shakur loses or if his fights fail to attract interest. Now that's very true, because there's nothing to say that Shakur is going to draw an audience. But remember the Joe Cordina fight for October 12th, in which he said he hurt his hand while training, which I believe is all for show. Because for someone who claims to want that fame and that bag, that was his opportunity. It doesn't matter that the threat of Joe Cordina posed possibly an imposition on his future endeavors. But now he's talking about coming back in the early quarter of 2025 and facing the likes of William Zepeda. The thing about that is, Zepeda is a fighter. I do believe he's with Golden Boy Promotions right now, but he is a fighter who is looking better and better with each outing. Even though he may be matched to showcase his talents in the best manner possible, it is something that is readily apparent. And Shakur, the last thing he needs is for an aggressive fighter who really wants it to come after him, because he doesn't take risks. And in fact, he avoids and moves around, and it is difficult, even when heavily critiqued, to light a fire under his belly to get him to engage. Now the article goes on and says that Stevenson's hit and not get hit fighting style isn't entertaining for this generation's fans, who don't enjoy the outdated Mayweather fighting approach. I don't necessarily agree with that, describing it that way. That didn't fit this era's fans, who like action rather than peck and scat style that Shakur uses. Mason, who's 5'9", might be too big and powerful for Shakur, who can't punch and looked poor last November in his clash against Edwin De Los Santos in Las Vegas. Shakur doesn't look like he's capable of handling a big puncher like Mason. It may not be competitive if that fight happens in 2 to 3 years. Shakur's career could be on skid row, much like Regis Prograis' after next year, and he wouldn't be worth fighting. It's unknown whether Shakur's career, where Shakur's career will be after 2025. If the number one WBC contender, William Zepeda, destroys him in February, as many people believe he will be the case, a fight between he and Mason might never happen. Shakur would be faced with some tough decisions in his career about whether to stay at lightweight or move up to 140 and try to reinvent himself. Zepeda has already beaten fighters who use the same pullback style that Shakur uses, and he made it look easy. He averages 100.2 punches thrown per round, and he hits hard to the body and head. Shakur could be doomed against Zepeda. Yeah. This article is in the description box. I would encourage you to go and read further. Though I do not agree with every sentiment that is being expressed here, the one thing that I do agree with is the fact that Shakur hasn't taken the fights that could elevate and really describe or define who he is as a fighter. And if you're talking about the likes of Abdullah Mason, Mason has already put on the display that he needs to be moved faster. Anything else, he would just be dining on fighters who are not in his league. There are prodigies in this game of boxing, and sometimes when they are young, like a Abdullah Mason, they really need to be put in with the best to show who and where they are. Devin Haney happened to be one of those sorts, though that people want to be dismissive of him now presently, but he still is undefeated, and he is still a willing participant in looking for the smoke. Shakur needs to start breathing the fire of his own smoke, because no one is buying what he's done up to this part. And otherwise, if you can't fight your friends, if you can't fight your contemporaries, if you can't face the challenges that this sport can bring on a regular basis, you may as well find something else to do. And one thing that we do know he knows how to do is go out there and tweet and get on social media. But when it comes to getting in the ring against quality opponents, that may not be his forte. But what do you think? This is Stormy B-Man. Shout out to the mighty LDBC and Liberated Perspective, a third eye view of the world. For more content such as this, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Let me know what your thoughts are about Shakur Stevenson and what his next move should be. Talking about Abdullah Mason, listen, he should face Keyshawn Davis. It's time to put friendships aside and get about the business. And let's see some separation between the talent of these men. Too afraid to go out there and define their careers, plus assist with enriching their own bank accounts. You got to do something, man. Everything is not just going to be clear cut for you. Sometimes you got to roll your sleeves up and get to work to get the job done. Shout out to the mighty LDBC and Liberated Perspective, a third eye view of the world. Leave comments and let's discuss. What do you think? Peace to everyone out there, and everyone please remain safe.